I said, I think it should be reviewed because I watched the play. And he didn't do anything wrong. You know, got to look at, by the way, if he did, I'd feel differently probably. If he punched him in the face, if he did something wrong. I thought you're a young, wonderful basketball player. Caitlin, I thought that she was treated rather rough, if you want to know the truth. That was a much different kind of an event. That was a pretty bad event. But in this case, he didn't do anything wrong. Two people ran into each other. And by the way, if you look at that game, there were 10 instances where it was much rougher than that. So I think it starts with the fact that it shouldn't have been a foul. And then you have to look at the person that raised the card, and that's up to you people. You look at, but I didn't think it was really good because it was not good. And I think that Johnny is brilliant at what he does. And I think they made, I don't think it was his decision, it's a big committee. And after reviewing it, I think they said, look, this game would have a big mark on it. If we lost, if we won, no matter what happened, you have to let them use their best players. And the game tonight's going to be amazing, and we're going to have a full team, and Belgium's going to have a full team. And you know what? If they beat us, then they can be really proud. The other way, if they beat us, we'll say I say it was rigged, just like the election was rigged in 2020, but I won't get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. The Trump accounts are great. Thank you.
You're watching President Trump take questions from reporters at the White House. He just rang the opening bell remotely to celebrate the launch of Trump accounts for kids. When asked about the upcoming NATO summit, the president said there's no pressure on Putin to end the war in Ukraine. On Iran, he says he thinks this regime is more reasonable than the last, but we'll find out. And when asked about FIFA's decision to overturn the United States top scorer's red card punishment, President Trump said he doesn't think it was a foul and that he talked to the FIFA president about that. He called the punishment very unfair and says he asked for a review. We will have a lot more on those issues and that NATO summit throughout the day. Coming up, summer sleep struggles. We're getting expert tips on why many of us sleep less in the summer and what you can do about it. That's next.
That kind of getting to where you need to be, that's what I hope to build in the community, and it's so needed.
Disney Plus and Hulu.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, as we're settling into summer, you might be noticing new sleep issues. The American Academy of Medicine says 1 in 3 people sleep less during the summer. Clinical psychologist and director of the University of Arizona Sleep and Health Program, Michael Grandner, is here with more why and what we can do about it. Michael, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks so much for having me talk about this.
You always have the best explanations for these things. So you say the ideal sleep temp varies from 65 to 75 degrees. That's a big range. So how do you know what's right for you?
Well, look, I live in Arizona, but I grew up in the Northeast. You know, what you're used to does sort of change what your comfort level is. There's a bit of a wide range. I think most people prefer, 65 to 75, usually more like 68 to 72 seems to be best. But people can sleep in a wider range of temperatures than sometimes they think they can.
Why is temperature so critical?
So our body regulates temperature across the night. In the earlier part of the night, our body temperature is dropping as we're into sleep, and then it hits the bottom, and then it starts rising again. That's why in the earlier part of the night, if it's too hot, it's harder for your body to shed that heat and cool down. Where in the later part of the night, a little bit of warm helps signal a wake-up signal to start the day.
It's interesting, though, because we have core temperature, and then we have skin temperature. So what do you do when it's 90+ degrees outside and you can't just crank the AC?
Yeah, if you can't crank the AC, you got to find other ways to help your body do that cooling process. It's trying to cool down, so give it some help. A fan may help. So fans don't cool the air in the room. They blow the heat that you're generating off your body, so they make you feel cooler, so it can help you settle in. So if you're gonna pick pajamas or sheets or anything, don't just pick for thinness, pick for breathability, so that air can shuffle that heat away. Also, you can take a hot bath, or even just warming your feet at night dilates those blood vessels, and it can help your body shed that heat. They can help that drop happen faster.
Most people think cool shower or cool your feet. You're saying the opposite.
Well, it's sort of like you're dropping it from a higher place, and it's trying to drop anyway. So you're sort of lifting it up a little bit so it'll drop a little bit harder. So there is actually data that shows that warming yourself briefly helps that cooling process, because once you get out, it's even colder, and it helps drop faster.
And I hear a lot about people talking about leaving their foot out of the cover. You actually say Grandner approved.
Oh yeah, totally. Because you have, not only do you shed heat out of that surface area, but you have temperature sensing apparatus there. So like your body helps sense the room temperature from your feet. So like if you ever notice when you stick your foot out under the covers, it sort of helps you cool off. That's totally true.
What if the monsters get you?
I don't have anything for that.
I know late sunsets in summer can also make it harder to sleep. Talk about what's happening in the body there and your tips for that.
Yeah, for later sunsets, especially people in northern latitudes, it can be light out to 9, 10 o'clock sometimes, or even later sometimes. And so what you want to do is, one thing to do that a lot of people don't realize, if you get plenty of light during the day, the evening light isn't going to do as much to disrupt your sleep at night. So actually getting some healthy daylight during the day is sometimes the best inoculation against the light interfering with your sleep at night. But also I would say, plan ahead. Think of your sleep as your commute to tomorrow. Like, how are you going to get there? What time do you need to be ready? And so think backwards. If you're like, I need to get up at a certain time, it means I need to go to bed at this time. That time should be when you start doing things and getting ready.
This summer we also have the World Cup, and I have to confess that I've had a few late nights watching games, including last night. My husband is British, and so that England game kept us very much awake. What are your favorite tips to mitigate the damage from a late night or consecutive late nights?
The best way is just having some good sleep up until that point. Come at it from a place of strength. And so it's okay. People's sleep doesn't have to be perfect every day for you to be perfectly fine. All you need to do, sleep generally fine, have a night or two of disruption, and your day will largely go okay. You know, we're actually quite resilient. If you've been struggling with sleep and then have a rough night, it'll be a little bit tougher. So you might not want to, be doing anything overly dangerous or complicated the next day. You might want to make sure you're structuring your day a little bit differently, but give yourself a day to recover maybe, but then you should be fine.
And I want to pull on the struggling with sleep, because we're talking about when you choose to stay awake because you were doing something else. But I used to be one of those people that would go to bed and I would try to sleep, but I would stare at the ceiling. I couldn't fall asleep, couldn't stay asleep. A lot of people feel like they do sleep fine, but then they're still sleepy all day. What's your suggestion for that camp, for those people?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say really briefly is sleep is multidimensional. There's amount, there's quality, there's timing, there's regularity. There's different elements of sleep, and just because you're getting enough, maybe your sleep quality is poor. Maybe you feel like you need more, but maybe it's just there's something in the environment that's disturbing things and the amount is fine. So think about it as there could be many ways in, not just on amount. But if the person is struggling with falling asleep, especially if it's occasional, especially if it's a not typical thing for them to be struggling to fall asleep, the best advice I have is to let the system correct itself. If you've got a stomach bug, right, and you lose your appetite for a day or two, you don't think, what if I starve to death? Like, you don't think that. You think, you know what, my appetite's gonna be dysregulated for a day or two, but then I'll be fine. You know it. You don't worry about that. And I would say do the same with your sleep. If you have a night where you're like, you know what, tonight's just not a good night from who knows why.
Yeah.
You know what?
Don't obsess over it.
Don't worry about it. No one got to sleep faster by trying harder. It's the effort that's going to make it harder. And if it's not coming, I mean, standing at the bus stop waiting for the bus when it's not coming doesn't make it come faster. It just makes you more frustrated.
And I
Maybe
know
the bus is running late today.
And I know that you are among many experts who help treat people who are consistently having that problem, and you can go get expert help. Michael Graner, great to have you. Thank you.
Always. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Coming up, the American woman rowing into history, what Kelsey Fendler is saying about her 2,400-mile journey from California to Hawaii.
Wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, the internet is loving these viral photos of a seal pup on a boogie board. They show the seal just relaxing and having some fun on an unattended bodyboard near Staten Island, Maine. A fishing tour company posted the photo saying customers spotted the pup. The island is home to a harbor seal colony. And the fastest person ever to row from California to Hawaii is sharing her story. Kelsey Fendler is the first American woman to make the 2,400-mile journey, and now she's talking to ABC about how she did it in 43 days. ABC's Lara Spencer has her story.
This morning, Kelsey Fendler is celebrating after making history.
Kelsey! Kelsey!
The Grand Canyon River rafting guide becoming the first American woman to row solo across the mid-Pacific.
It was very surreal. I think it was hard to soak in that I had actually made it.
Hundreds gathering along Honolulu Harbor as the 32-year-old pulled in, completing the historic trip from California to Hawaii.
It was very intense and just there were so many people there and it was very wonderful.
She began her 2,400-mile journey on May 21st.
Day one of becoming the first American woman to row solo from California to Hawaii.
Arriving in just 43 days, 17 hours, and 55 minutes.
You can see
see land over there. That's Oahu right there.
Appearing to break the speed record for both men and women.
I didn't expect to get in that early, but I picked up a lot of speed at the very end because there was some good current going into Honolulu.
Fendler telling us her quest served as a reminder of the power of Mother Nature.
I was definitely scared at points, but then you put that against some of the latter days where you get to like actually soak in like how immense the open ocean is.
So cool. Lara Spencer, thank you. And Fendler says she's looking forward to continuing her career as a Grand Canyon river raft guide. She says she hopes her achievement encourages other women to push boundaries and take chances. I'm Diane Macedo. The news never stops, and neither do we. Kira Phillips has a lot more news right after the break.
At Grand Canyon University, we're redefining what higher education looks like.
It's preparation for a life that transforms.
Take action. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Visit gcu.edu.
Wherever you stream your news, now you can listen to a podcast version of This Week, available free wherever you listen. ABC News Live, winner of 3 prestigious Emmy Awards, including for outstanding live breaking news coverage. Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
I'm Diane Macedo. Let's get right to breaking news. A crucial hearing's getting started in the Charlie Kirk murder case. Prosecutors are going to lay out their case against the suspect to see if it's enough to warrant a murder trial. Investigators say Kirk was shot from a rooftop about 200 feet away from where he was holding a speaking event. The 23-year-old suspect has not entered a plea yet, and moments ago, he arrived at the courthouse in this armored vehicle. ABC's Alex Stone is outside the courthouse in Provo, Utah for more. Hi, Alex. What's the latest from court?
Well, court is getting going right now, or will be here in the next couple of minutes. Diane, you're right. We saw Tyler Robinson's motorcade arriving, heavily armored vehicles that were coming into the courthouse here. I can tell you at the courthouse there are snipers and tactical teams up on the rooftop. There has been a police drone up overhead as well. Security here very tight. Now, 10 months after the shooting of Charlie Kirk, this, as you mentioned, will be like a mini trial. There will be testimony. There will be evidence. It could go for a week. It may not go that long, but prosecutors show they have enough evidence to take this to trial. But it is a low bar. They only have to show probable cause, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So they have to show the judge that they've got enough to show that it could have been Tyler Robinson, and then the judge will decide if they do, in fact, head to trial, Diane.
Alex, Charlie's widow, Erica Kirk, is expected to be in court today. What's the family saying ahead of this hearing?
Yeah, the family arrived a short time ago, a number of different family members getting out of dark SUVs and coming into the building behind me. In fact, we got a statement from Erica Kirk a short time ago saying that Charlie was a beloved husband, son, brother, friend, and father. Every court proceeding serves as a painful reminder of what unfolded. Now, she has fought, Diane, for these hearings to be open to the public. We are going to be able to see what goes on today. There are cameras that are in the courtroom. It is going to be open, whereas Tyler Robinson's attorneys, they've tried to shut this down and not have media access, not have cameras in the courtroom. But the judge siding with the prosecution on this and with Erica Kirk to make this open, to make the proceedings very public as they begin to unfold today.
And I want to bring in ABC News legal contributor Bernardo Villalona, too. Bernardo, what's the bar prosecutors will have to show to make the case that they have enough evidence to go to trial?
For the preliminary hearing, it's the lowest bar. The only thing that the prosecution has to put forward is that there's probable cause to believe that Tyler Robinson committed the crimes as charged, and that, of course, that he is the person that committed the crimes. So it's the very lowest bar. It's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Actually, in a preliminary hearing, it's actually bare minimum, where they'll ask questions as to circumstantial evidence having to deal with the surveillance evidence, having to deal with the forensic, whether it's DNA, whether there's fingerprints, whether it's the palm print, having to deal with the rifle, the recovery of the rifle. Also, more importantly, is the testimony of the roommate, which I'm hearing that the roommate is not going to appear physically inside of the courtroom. Instead, there's a taped interview that's going to be played for the judge. Of course, the defense is going to have the opportunity to cross-examine these witnesses, but again, it's not a full-blown trial. It's just a preliminary hearing where just sufficient evidence has to be put forth in front of a judge to make a determination whether this case should move forward to trial.
And Bernardo, prosecutors also have to show the existence of aggravating factors in order to pursue the death penalty. How challenging do you think that'll be?
So in terms for the preliminary hearing portion, the aggravating factors that they're going with is actually not that difficult, because one of the main aggravating factors that they're going with is that this was done in the presence of children. This shooting was done in the presence of children, so that's one. And second aggravating factor that they're going with, that it caused grave risk of injury to other individuals. This was in a public forum where there were hundreds of people that were there, so it would have been quite easily for another person aside from Charlie to have been shot.
All right, Alex Stone, Bernardo Villalona, thank you both. Joining the American Journalist for another round of